Hi, I'm Chris Van Leeuwen, VP of Agency Development with Insurance Canopy. I've been in the insurance industry for the past 32 years with a concentration on providing commercial insurance to both small and large businesses nationwide. The insurance industry is ever changing and can be challenging for business owners to understand and navigate which coverages are essential to protecting yourself and your company. Our goal today is to provide you a better understanding of the exposures your business may have and walk you through some concepts and strategies to help protect your business. To do this, we need to identify possible issues in your business that increase your exposures to lawsuits and/or claims that can damage your business. We will then discuss the options you have to deal with these potential issues for your business. One of the most common claims that we see come from premises liability. These are injuries or damages that arise from the ownership or maintenance or use of your location. The simple slip and falls that cause people harm can cost your business a lot of money. Another area is product liability. This is damages that can be bodily injury or property damage arising from the defects in your product or failure to warn about your product. Even if you import your product, you become the manufacturer and you have this great exposure. Or even if you're just selling a product on behalf of somebody else, you can still be brought into a lawsuit regarding the product liability. The next one is operational liability. This is liability arising out of injury or damages caused by your normal daily activities that you do to conduct your business. For example, if you were installing something and you actually put a nail or screw through a pipe and caused it to burst, or knocked over something in somebody's home, these are incidental operational claims that could occur arising out of the conduct of your business. The next thing is property coverage. A lot of people think that property coverage is sometimes included in their liability when it's not. This is covering your real property like building, or if you do not own the building, the business personal property, which would include stock and inventory, shelving, computers, and all of that you may have stored in one location. Another form of property coverage is inland marine, which is an interesting word, but this is covering equipment that's not stationary, that is not specific to one location. This is equipment or sales samples or things that you would take to a farmer's market or a convention. Anything that's away from a normal premises, you need inland marine coverage. Its sister coverage is ocean marine. So if you're importing any goods from overseas, ocean marine cargo would give you coverage from warehouse to warehouse. And if any claim happens in between the transportation from warehouse to warehouse, that's what ocean marine would cover. Another issue businesses need to contemplate and concern themselves about is auto coverage. This is the liability arising out of the ownership or maintenance of an auto. The problem comes with is if you're using your personal auto for commercial use. There's many personal auto policies that will exclude business use, and so if you do have an accident using your personal vehicle while on business time, you may have an uncovered claim. So it's really important to understand the difference between your personal auto and your commercial auto. Believe it or not, employees, they're not only your biggest asset, they can bring exposure to your business. That can be through work-related injuries, theft, fraud, harassment, discrimination, hostile work environments, wrongful termination, and employees, especially these days, are probably the leading cause for cyber attacks. So although employees can be your biggest assets, you also have to understand that they can be a liability, and you need to address those things. Independent contractors can also cause your business harm. There's a lot of people, a lot of businesses that will hire quote-unquote independent contractors, but then will tell them when to show up to work, what tools to be provided, how to do things, and just by that mere fact, you now turn that independent contractor into an employee. So it's really important to understand the rules and regulations with the IRS and the Department of Labor, and you can look up online kind of the employee versus independent contractors tests, and you'll be able to go through that and then be able to classify each person correctly. One of the biggest things facing small businesses today, especially with people working from home, are cyber and data breaches. Now, you always hear about the big ones, but it's amazing how many small businesses are being affected by this today, and there's huge consequences. The cost is pretty significant. It can cost a small business on small breaches easily $60,000 to $100,000 to mitigate that claim. So as people are working from home and having more access, it's really important to protect yourself on the cyber and data breach exposures you have to your business. One of the things that general liability does not cover are professional services. If you are giving professional advice, you're giving consultation, you're doing professional services like hair care or whatever that may be, you need to look into professional liability coverages because your normal, typical general liability will not cover that. Now that we've gone over some of the risks that can cause harm to your business, in this section we're going to talk about some of the options that you have when it comes to loss control. Once we've identified the possible issues that can cause your business harm, then we can discuss the strategies to help you reduce the risk to you and your company. It's important to understand the concepts of loss control to help you know what options you may have. So what is loss control? Loss control is practices designed to reduce the likelihood of a claim being made against you, your company, and your insurance. Once an exposure is identified, you can now ask what you're going to do with them. Can I eliminate the exposure? Can I reduce or control the exposure? Is it something I as a business can retain? Or can I transfer the exposure? Now let's discuss some examples of the day-to-day issues you may encounter in your business and apply the loss control strategies discussed. The first question is, can you eliminate the risk, which is the hardest thing to do for a business. There are so many exposures that are out there that you just can't get rid of. And so it's pretty difficult to actually eliminate the risk, but in the circumstances you can, you should really pursue that. The second question we posed was, can I reduce or control the risk? In the previous section, we talked about the employees and how they can actually expose your business. And some of the things you can do to reduce or control that risk is implement employee handbooks and make them adhere to what's in the handbook. If somebody has driving responsibilities, require motor vehicle records every year to see if they have increased speeding tickets or DUIs, because these can actually cause more exposure to your business. Put policy and procedures in place on computer usage to reduce your exposure for cyber attacks. If you have a building, put an alarm in there to reduce the exposure of theft. Working with customers, have sign-off forms. If you're doing work on behalf, that they have work orders that they sign off that this has been completed. If you're working with independent contractors, require they have insurance and that they're naming you as additional insured. All of these things that you implement can help reduce exposure to your business. One of the other questions that we ask on loss control is, can I retain risk? As a business owner, you may be retaining risk and not even realize it, and that happens a lot within your contracts that you may be signing, whether you're trying to get in a big box store or signing a lease with your landlord. There's provisions in contract that automatically make you as a business owner retain risk, and you may not know it. And so we want to talk about that a little bit. When you're reviewing your contracts, focus on the indemnification agreements and liability portions of that contract. You may encounter verbiage that says any liability or all liability, that you're going to indemnify them for all claims without limitation arising from and in any way, regardless of negligence. That verbiage is extremely broad, and no insurance company is going to have coverage to cover you for all claims regardless of negligence. So by the mere fact of signing that contract, you retain that risk because of the contractual verbiage. And so you need to be careful of that and definitely consult with an attorney to make sure that you're not putting your business at more risk than you need to. Another way to retain risk is by not purchasing any insurance coverage. If you have a business with inventory and stock and you choose not to insure it, you're retaining the risk of the loss of that property if in the event of a fire or another type of a claim. So there's many ways that you're retaining risk. You just need to be aware of it and be able to make good business decisions based on that information. The next question we ask is, can I transfer the risk? How can I push my liability to somebody else? The most common one is purchase insurance coverage. I'm going to pay an insurance company a premium, and they're going to cover me for specific losses. This is the most common way to transfer things away from you. Another concept of transfer of risk is requiring contracts for independent contractors, suppliers, and other third parties. Make sure you secure signed contracts before work begins or a lease starts. Oral contracts and handshake deals and agreements can be very difficult and costly to enforce. So make sure you have an attorney draft your contracts and include hold harmless clauses that protect you and your business. Require that you have additional insured status and that a certificate of insurance is issued to you. That the contract clearly defines each party's responsibilities. And then internally train personnel how to review and approve these certificates of insurance to make sure they're compliant with what the contract you're having these people sign. Each business has its own unique challenges and risks. That's why it's vital to be informed, take preventative measures, and most importantly, find the right insurance coverage to protect you when you run into unexpected incidents. If you need help finding the right policy for you, feel free to get in touch with us at insurancecanopy.com. We're always here to help, and thank you for watching.